Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human nature stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today's Sunday, and it's February the 22nd, 2026. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a returning viewer, by all means, thank you for coming back. You know, I always say the tide changes so frequently here on these YouTube streets. So you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know I sincerely thank you for your support. So feel free to like and to share this video. And don't forget to subscribe. This past Valentine week was a terrible one for North Carolina militaries, and that's because we lost four service members, three soldiers, and one Marine, all within a matter of days. And you know, we've decided to address all of the incidents. We're going to cover all of the situations right here on Josie's Point of View within the next matter of days. I've decided not to lump them all together just to make sure each situation gets the attention it deserves. So let's go ahead and let's get started with the first. And for that, we traveled to Fort Bragg, where the news headline read, Fort Bragg soldier and girlfriend killed in off-road shooting, and the date of this incident was February the 14th, 2026. I'll provide you with a summary here, and I'll identify some of my sources for you in the description box. And this incident was first reported by the Moore County Sheriff's Office and is currently available on their Facebook page. According to reports, on the morning of February 14th at approximately 7:45 a.m., police responded to a shooting on Daphne Lane, which is the Woodlake community of Vass in North Carolina. When officers arrived, they found two individuals inside a home who were already deceased. Witness accounts indicated that the murders were not conducted by a stranger, but by someone who was known to at least one of the deceased victims, and it was reported that that suspect fled the scene shortly before police arrived. The two deceased victims, both adults, were identified as 28-year-old Matthew Wade, a paratrooper assigned to Fort Bragg, and his 21-year-old girlfriend, Katerina Tomash. So let's focus on the subject for a second. Now, he was hell-bent on getting away and getting out of town, but he may have had a head start on police, but police had a positive ID. They knew exactly who they were looking for, and they were able to alert state highway authorities to be on the lookout for the suspect, and he was captured in Ohio, over 7 hours away from North Carolina, and he was taken into custody. That was great police work. And that suspect was identified as 25-year-old Caleb Fosnot, a resident of Ohio. He was taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of breaking and entering. It was also reported that Fosnot was the ex-boyfriend of the deceased female victim when she previously lived in Ohio. So you see, this seems like it was a love triangle, love relationship gone wrong. Now we learned that she talking about Tatiana here, that she was a refugee of the war in Ukraine and she had lived in the United States for about 2 years. It was also reported that the suspect broke into the home where Tatiana lived with her parents and her young siblings. Reports say he forced one of the young siblings to wake her up. Then he shot her in bed, and then he shot her boyfriend, who was asleep next to her, and that boyfriend, as you already know, was a paratrooper from Fort Bragg. So Private Matthew Wade, victim number 2, a native of Hamilton, Mississippi, 28 years old, a native of Hamilton, Mississippi, had been assigned to Fort Bragg 4th Battalion, 1st Special Warfare Training Group, where he was a Special Force candidate, so he was in school. It was reported that Private Wade had been assigned to Fort Bragg since 2024. And as I often do, I would visit the soldier's hometown just to see what the newspapers and the media, in fact, are saying about him. And here's from one newspaper source. The headline read, Mississippi soldier identified as victim of Valentine's Day double homicide. This was from the 16th of February, Super Talk, Mississippi Media, and just the basic information that we have already discussed. And here is a television source, WTVA, from around the same time. The source headline read Mississippi native killed in Valentine's Day shooting. They had a picture of Matthew Wade, 28, with the caption that said, the U.S. soldier and a woman were killed Saturday at home in North Carolina. Police arrest Cable Fosnot in Ohio. And this was from another media source identified as WDAM 7. I believe this was a TV station as well. Just basic information about his passing. And this is probably the source where I learned the most about a falling soldier. It was a television story, and the title of it was Hamilton Family Reflects Over Matthew Wade's Life. The TV channel was WCBI. It's a channel in Hamilton, Mississippi. And there was also an interview with two of his sisters. And what I learned is that Matthew Wade, Private Matthew Wade, graduated high school in 2015, and that he was a police officer before he decided to join the military, and that he worked for as a police officer for two different locations. The sister spoke about the fact that he loved, he was kind hearted, he was loving, and he loved to travel. He had plans to travel, and there was major plans for him to travel to Italy. I'm not sure if it was for an assignment or on vacation, but there were things that were being planned out for the future, but unfortunately, those will remain unfulfilled. And from that same story by the television station reflecting on the life of Matthew Wade, I saw this picture, and it's a picture of Private Matthew Wade when he was Officer Matthew Wade. Here he is in his police officer uniform. I blocked out the faces of the two ladies because they definitely weren't a part of the story, but it shows Private Matthew Wade before he decided to become a soldier. And this is what was written about this fallen hometown hero. And I'm sure they don't mind me sharing it with you. And keep in mind, this is what I do. Whenever we have a fallen soldier from our area, I always visit that soldier's hometown and see what they're saying about him or her. And this is what was written. Our Hamilton community is heartbroken over the tragic and senseless loss of one of our own, Matthew Wade, age 28. Matthew served as a police officer in Aberdeen for a time before continuing his call in another department, and he was proudly serving our country in the U.S. Army. He lived a life of service to his community and to his nation, and they were asking for continued prayer for his four sisters, his parents, and other family members as they work through this difficult time. And then I also saw this in from the community of Hamilton, Mississippi, an information page. This is a public group, and they took the time to recognize, to honor, and to recognize Private Wade. I want you to know that I did see Private Wade's picture posted in the National Gun Memorial Archives because they keep track of all the individuals throughout the United States who were lost to gun violence. And here is his picture and his information. Matthew Wade is 28, lost to gun violence on February the 14th, and it gives you some resources, and it tells you where the tragedy took place, Vass, North Carolina. And Tatiana is also listed here. And here's the picture, her picture, and the information pertaining to her. Same exact as Matthew, same location, and again, victim of gun violence for February the 14th, 2026. Now, I saw a post stating that a memorial service for Private Wade and Tatiana would be held here in North Carolina on February the 28th, but no specific location or times were identified. And Tatiana's funeral plans have also been made public. It was mentioned that her viewing and her funeral will take place in St. George, Utah on March the 4th, 2026. And I'm sure if anyone is interested in obtaining more information, they'll be able to do so by simply doing a Google search. And I have searched and searched looking for Private Wade's funeral plans, but I could not find them, not in North Carolina area or in the Hamilton, anywhere in the Hamilton newspaper. So I'm assuming as of today, those funeral plans are still pending. And let's return to our suspect for a few minutes. As already mentioned, he was arrested in Ohio and charged with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of aggravated breaking and entering. And then he was extradited back to North Carolina this past Wednesday to face those charges. On Thursday, he appeared before a judge. He was appointed a court appointed attorney because he doesn't have any money, and the judge demanded that he be held without bond until his trial. So bond has been denied. His next court date is March the 11th, and he remains in the Moore County Detention Center until his next court appearance. And keep in mind, if he's found guilty of that double murder charge, he is facing either life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. Now, everyone knows that whenever I do the stories of a service member who has passed away, my intent is always to say a final farewell. I always look for the obituary, and I look for Private Sway's obituary, and I did not find one. But I saw this information on his sister's Facebook page, and I'm sure she would not mind me sharing what she wrote. It says he loved comic books, tattoos, video games, and going to the gym. He even loved line dancing, but most importantly, he loved his family just as deeply as we loved him. Matthew was the kind of man who would give you the shirt off his back, even if it was his last one. He would give you his last dollar, even if it meant he went without. He would give you his blanket, even if it meant he would be cold. He was thoughtful, selfless, and always put others before him. What an awesome tribute to her brother. And so we bid farewell to another fallen hero. Even though his time in the military may have been short, he has made his mark through his dedication to service as a police officer and now as a fellow soldier. So, Private Matthew Wade, your mission is finally completed. So rest well, my friend, and thank you for your service. And that's all I have for you right now, but feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video, and by all means, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks like just like this one, that's the notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.